When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you for tuning in to Awakening to Natural Wellness. My name is Katina Shaw. Today's show is going to be Phoenix Energy Therapy with Irene, How Energy Heals. Irene Keaating, founder of Phoenix Energy Therapy, LLC, in 2014, is a channel and facilitator of healing energy and a life coach. She is a certified Reiki master, and she has evolved into an open channel. Irene has been practicing for 17 years. Irene is fiercely committed to supporting and assisting individuals who are looking for ways to heal themselves using this energy. Irene she's been committed and initially inspired by the failing health of her 3-year-old son. Irene now serves others as a catalyst for change and transformation. She has devoted her life to increasing her own vibration through studying energy work and is assisting others to do the same. The goal is to realize our greatest potential for health and happiness. So thank you for tuning in today. You are in for a treat. And now I'm going to turn it over to Irene. Irene, thank you for being on the show today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Katina. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome.
I guess first I'd like to start off, and if you don't mind, and talk a little about the energies that I'm certified with. Mm-hmm. It was Reiki, Seichem, and Amadeus. And Reiki means universal life force. It's kind of a difficult translation. Some say God's wisdom or higher power, breath of the infinite. And it's an energy that was discovered in the East or rediscovered by Mikao Usui. And that was my first introduction. And then Seichem, in my case it's spelled S-K-H-M, and that just denotes that I took the year-long teaching course that met every week for an hour and a half. And that means power of powers. It refers to inner truth and the removal of false masks. And it also means all love. And that was rediscovered by Patrick Ziegler in Egypt when he was in the King's Chamber at the Great Pyramid. It works strongly on an emotional level. It's like if you took Reiki and took the emotional healing aspect from Reiki and amplified it. That's what Seichem feels like to me. And the attunement is different than Reiki. The master is a facilitator and assists others to attune themselves so that you have a direct line to this frequency. There's no one in the middle. And Amadeus means to love God. It was brought from the heart of the Amazon in South America by Alberto Aguas, the Guarani Indians. He studied with them for like 8 years. And he died, and Beth Cosmos here in Michigan took over the teachings. And now there are other instructors, and it's taught all around the world. It was my first introduction to and connection to working with the spirit world. The Guaranis believe that there is no illness, that everything is spirit, and outside forces cause illness. So what's neat about all these is what's common within all of them is God's wisdom, love, but none of them are a religion or a religious practice.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. So you want to go ahead and share with us your journey on discovering Reiki and, what went on with your son and any other experiences you want to share?
Sure. The hard part is going to be to try and condense this down because it's been a long journey with some really interesting things along the way, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
There were really two factors. Looking back, my whole life really prepared me to be in this place. My father he's retired now, but he was a doctor. He had a family practice. So I had a lot of background in traditional medicine. My sister was a nurse. When I went to college, I studied pre-veterinary medicine for 4 years. Changed my major after 4 years because when I applied to vet school and didn't get in the first time, something didn't feel right, and so I trusted that and moved on. But, I worked with a vet, large and small animal, 3 summers, for 3 years. And so there was a lot of background there. Then I got married and had a son, and at the age of 3, he had an issue that just destroyed his immune system. And at the age of 4, he had asthma. At the age of 5, he was a type 1 diabetic. And I was mortified because I knew how the traditional medical system worked. He would just be on medications and probably in and out of hospital. He was in such bad condition with the asthma that he was a child and he couldn't even run. I mean, he was allergic to everything. So it started with diet. I learned everything I could about diet, and that helped him a lot. Then herbs, and you have to be respectful with herbs. So I used those mildly, but tried to improve his immune system with those. And then I accidentally stumbled across homeopathy and took a weekend introductory course in that, and that totally changed my life. It blew me away because it was my introduction into energy work, energy medicine. So the woman that was teaching the class gave me suggested a remedy for me to try on my son that night, the first night, because he'd had a chronic cough every night while he slept. It's like he had a cold or a flu or something, and then the cough just never went away. And it was just horrible to listen to. It broke my heart. And I gave him 1 dose of this remedy that she suggested, and he woke up like an hour later coughing so hard that, honest to God, I thought he was going to die. It was horrible. But what that ended up being, what I learned, was a healing crisis. And he was fine after that. He was perfect. He didn't cough at night like that anymore. So that blew me away, and I decided I have to learn this. And I got obsessed with it, and I dove into it and treated it like school, reading books and memorizing. And so, I got pretty good with herbs and homeopathy. And I was on this, we had a big horse farm at the time, and I was on this horse board where I was suggesting herbs for some reason or another, and somebody invited me onto their board, and through that, I met my Reiki master. She thanked me for helping her so many times with so many different things that she asked if I would like to receive some Reiki. So I heard about that, and I'm like, okay, I had an open mind, but was a little bit skeptical. Now, this woman is in California, and I'm in Michigan. And to shorten up the story a little bit, I had a profound healing, like instantly, through some pain I was having in my elbow at the time that I wasn't taking care of myself. I hadn't paid any attention to it, but it was pretty painful. And then later she gave me it's called an intense treatment, where you get a treatment 4 days in a row, just to finish it off, to make sure we got to the core of the issue. And on the 5th day, I had a fever of 103 degrees. Now, everybody's different. I'm not saying that this would happen to everybody, but intense treatments are called that for a reason, because the detox at the end of it can be pretty severe, but it's temporary. So for me, that was really almost my initiation into another level, because the purpose of that fever in hindsight was to burn up a lot of what isn't going to serve me anymore and to raise my body to a higher vibration. And after that, my whole world started to change. I started having these unusual encounters with animals.
Wow.
Like an owl appeared to me and just sat on a branch, like 3 feet above me. I walked right up to it. It was a little screech owl. It didn't fly away. And I was there with it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, what's going on? I finally ran in the house to get somebody to share it with, because I couldn't believe what was going on.
Wow.
And as soon as it saw the other people, it flew away. But the next day, when I was putting my stallion out to pasture, I just let him loose in the pasture, and on the other side I saw it looked like the owl, and one wing was flopping up in the air in the wind, and I'm like, oh no, and I went over there and I picked it up, and it was still warm, it was like freshly dyed, and I just held it for a while, and I was just really sad, and I finally buried it, and I called my Reiki master, who the one who had worked on me, and she told me that in the shamanic tradition that was a gift for me, that I was supposed to cut the wing of that owl off and keep it. And it was a symbol, to be used in my energy work. And I'm like, ew, I couldn't have done that. Tell you how gross, But as it turns out, the screech owl is my main totem animal. It's a medicine totem. It's an animal helper. And then the horned owl, later I came to find out, is my messenger owl. So anytime I'm going to have any kind of significant change in my life, it always comes close and hoots and lets me know that something's going to shift. And then I flew my Reiki master into Michigan to learn Reiki. I wanted to learn it only from her. And I got a group of people together, and there's 4 attunements in Reiki 1. And during my second attunement, I felt I was enfolded, enveloped by this feeling of love that is indescribable. It is not of the earth. It's not any kind of love that we as human beings would feel. This was divine and beautiful, and it literally took my breath away. I couldn't breathe. And it stayed for a while and then left. But in that moment, I knew that this is what I came here to do with absolute certainty. It's like I'm home. I found, what I was here to do. So
that is amazing.
It is. I'll never forget it. It's, burned in my brain forever.
That is incredible.
So after that, it was just, again, when I love something, feel strongly about something, I get obsessed. And so I went fairly quickly, within a matter of a few years, of going through Reiki 1, Reiki 2, the master level. My Reiki master also flew in when she came to teach me and attune me to the master level. She opened, along with the help of a shaman, a medicine circle for me, where I went every day to do my inner work. And then Seikem was shortly after. That was the year-long teaching course. Amadeus was shortly after. There's a level 1 and 2, and that was in my introduction to the spirit world. But as a healing energy and just doing a full body treatment, it's really amazing too. They're all different. I love them all. I honestly can't say that I love one more than the other. Then I learned how to self-attune to other energies and frequencies. And then another significant time in my life was like in 2008. I was worried about a client I had. I wanted to do more to help her. And I intuitively received 3 symbols that they looked like Egyptian symbols that I attuned myself to them. And that really changed my life in a huge way. The heart expansion I felt was amazing. And this energy, compared to the other energies, I mean, my body needed a few years to get used to it, to attune to it, to raise to the vibration to where I could channel it, effortlessly and clearly.
Wow.
And I called it the new energy because it was new to me, but it's really a very ancient energy. Yeah. And another thing I learned to do along the way, especially when this energy showed up, was to ask for specific things. And it allowed me to direct the energy with intent. So, and then some other animals appeared to me along the way, like the hummingbird came to me twice, just fluttered right in front of my face twice. Wow. I had a deer that walked up to me when I was out gardening that came like 10 feet away and would not budge and just sat there and stared at me.
Oh, my God.
And there's a book on animal totems that, you can look up, meanings and significance, the significance of these encounters and stuff. So that's what I did, and it all fit. And it was, and then in the medicine circle, I received kind of a knowing that snake and killer whale appeared to me. And so they're with me all the time.
Wow.
So those are my main animals, but there's always things appearing to show me where I am in my life, and there can be messages like I've had spider and frog, and there's countless others. You just have to pay attention and realize that they're very unusual encounters. I mean, that's how you know.
Yeah, that is quite amazing. I can totally relate to the animal totems. First, and I'm just starting to tune into that myself. But for me, it's birds. It's like birds. I see birds, when something significant is going to happen, or the universe is trying to give me a sign about something. And I think it's just really amazing how when you're open and when you're in tuned with who you are and in alignment with Source, how these things happen and take place. And I am just amazed. And
you develop a sense of awareness. And you should look up those birds. I mean, you can, if you don't have a book, you can look them up online. There are sites specific just to that, because specific birds carry specific meanings. So, make sure you look them up.
Yeah, I will. So the next thing I want to ask you, can you share with us some of the benefits of Reiki?
Well, some of the benefits, there's a lot of benefits, and I wouldn't call it Reiki, I call it energy work, because sometimes I ask for the specific modalities, but sometimes, usually I just let come through whatever comes through. It's really between, the person and God. Whatever comes through is going to be right for them. But I still like to use the other ones on occasion just so they can experience them, and they're all very powerful and unique in their own way. But the benefits in general, just like all energy work, are in general they're the same. The end result is you want to be healthy and happy, right?
Yes.
The commonality among them all is it reduces stress and promotes relaxation, and it triggers the body's natural healing abilities. So you can end up, you can sleep better, it can reduce blood pressure, there could be mental and emotional clearing, it can alleviate acute and chronic problems, it can relieve pain, it can help with addictions, it can remove energy blockages, it can bring the body into balance and harmony, it assists in eliminating toxins, reduces side effects of drugs, It can help the body recover from anesthesia and surgery and chemotherapy. It supports the immune system. It increases energy levels. It can slow aging because, of course, if you're less stressed, you're not going to age as fast. It raises the vibration of the body, and it promotes spiritual growth.
That is amazing.
And it's go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like the energy helps put the body into like hyperdrive. You know, you can heal without it, but you're going to heal a lot faster if you use it. It shortens the duration time of healing.
Absolutely.
So it shifts things. It reprograms, recalibrates, realigns, rebalances. It's quicker and more efficient than if you don't use it. But there are many ways to healing. You know, it's not the only way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking about energy. Everything is energy. And it's like we use energy every day, and especially people who are into spiritual healing and laying hands on people and things like that, and praying for people, whether it's in person or distant healing. We're sending this healing energy, and we're dealing with it all the time, and it's a lot better when we're in tune with what we're doing so that we can direct it. You know, it's such an important thing. So that's how I relate to it. This is from the information that you shared is very powerful. It's a very powerful and effective way to help others. And I just think that's truly amazing.
Yeah, I've seen it in my own life. And I've reached a point to where I've learned so much and gotten to a place where, you know, this wasn't meant to be kept to myself. You know, it's meant to be shared with others. And, I just worked word of mouth for a while, but only a limited amount of people were going to know that I existed. And, of course, I'm not the only one. There's lots of practitioners all over, and everybody is unique and has their own flavor. And I think you kind of know who you're meant to be with. You kind of get directed to the person, and you know which one is going to be right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the intuition comes in, and that's a wonderful thing to have that intuition and be in tuned and know who to work with and what to do, and you know that's just an awesome thing to know. Is there anything else that you want to show? Any other experiences with giving the energy healing to anybody else? What about animals? Any other people that you've seen benefit from it?
Well, there's so much. It's really, you know, hard to condense it all. Probably the most, I have two examples that I was going to give that shows how it can operate a little bit differently and how it depends on the recipient. You know, one of my earlier clients came in with a brain tumor on her. They told her there was nothing else she can do. She was pretty incapacitated at that time. Her daughter drove her all the way from Lansing, and it took two people to help her out of the car and into my house. And within a month, she came weekly for a month. Within a month, she was up and around. Within 3 months, she had a normal quality of life. She was able to go bowling. She was able to, she helped her brother, you know, fix up houses. She can go on vacation again. Wow. And I loved her. I mean, she stuck with me for 10 years. After we got the initial, the brain tumor never went away. That's what interested me. It's like it stopped growing, and it may have shrunk a little bit, but it wasn't affecting her anymore. And she stayed that way for 8 years. Her goal was just to outlive her husband so she could take care of him because she was in bad shape. You know, he was diabetic, he was going blind, he had issues. Well, she lived out that goal plus had extra. So 8 years she had a great quality of life, and she was an older woman anyway. And the last 2 years she started to fade out again, and the tumor did catch up to her again. I never understood how that works. You would hope that the tumor would go away completely, but sometimes there's some subconscious reason, why you're hanging on to that.
Even emotional reasons too.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know these things. I've just learned to trust the process.
Yeah. Right.
And then the other experience I had that's kind of interesting to talk about is a woman had injured. Now, this is a physical injury. People think that, just because you hurt yourself, that's like in a different category, but it's not. This woman injured herself cleaning the ice off her car in the winter, off the windshield, and somehow she had bent her thumb all the way back to her arm, backwards to her wrist. And she went to the emergency room. They did everything they could. There was nothing broken, but it was like really bad, ripped up, sprained. And she just lived like that for like 6 months. And then she bumped into me in the summer because she knew what I did. We had walked before and talked, and she asked if I could help her. And, just to be nice, I gave her some energy work, directly on her hand, and it helped a little, but it wasn't enough. So I asked her if she wanted to try some full body treatments, and she said yes. And by the 5th treatment, I didn't have my hands on her hand. I had my hands on her belly, and she felt tingling go down her arm, and she recovery at that time. And her hand was useless before. She had a complete healing. It was perfectly fine after that. It never came back, never bothered her again. But the significance of where my hands were is that she was having relationship problems with her husband at the time. And that's an energy center that's connected to relationships and love and power and things like that. So, that resolved itself. And then with some counseling and coaching, too, we talked about those issues, and she changed her perspective on a lot of things. And, that may have helped for, the permanent healing, too. So, but, there are other things. I have done sprains and other injuries that have been completely healed by the next day, but only if I start working on it immediately after it happens. The general rule is the longer you're in that state, the more attention it's going to need, with energy.
And that makes a lot of sense. And like you were saying before, it depends on the individual and what they have going on emotionally, the thoughts that they think. It depends on what vibration they're into. I'm sure all that plays a part in that, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they are completely responsible for the outcome of the treatment.
Absolutely.
Not me. I am just a channel.
Yeah.
I don't do the healing. It's between you and God at that point, and there's so much involved in all that I couldn't explain it all, really.
Right. And so sometime in the future we'll have you on the show again. So for now, we're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. How about you go ahead and share your information, your contact information, how you want people to reach you? Well,
the best place to reach me is on Facebook. Go to www.facebook.com/Phoenix Energy Therapy. My phone number is 810-701-7023. I also have an email address, phoenixenergytherapy@gmail.com. And my website will be up in about a month. And that is also phoenixenergytherapy.com. And I will have a list of testimonials on the webpage, and I will be starting a blog when that comes up.
That's awesome. You shared a lot of good info with us today. Thank you so much for being the guest on the show today.
Well, thanks again for inviting me.
Yes. We have to have you come back sometime, too. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Awakening to Natural Wellness. If you want to reach Irene, you have her contact info, and we are both on Facebook. My name is Katina Shaw, your host today. Thank you, and have a wonderful week.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to Geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.